This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where, yes, business owners share their wisdom. It's short, to the point, to respect people's time, and because we know transforming possibility happens really fast. And sometimes we even speak really fast, and sometimes we don't. But transforming possibility leads to lasting results. So enough of that. Let's get to it. Tyron, in a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
G'day, Brad. Thanks for having me on. Yes, so, well, I'm known for transforming, small businesses on LinkedIn, transforming from this kind of stale, stagnant style profiles that's all about them to actually transforming their business to a client-facing one where they use, tried and tested kind of B2B methodologies and bring it into LinkedIn rather than just being spammers and salesy and actually just dirty up the LinkedIn platform. So, my mission is to change the way business owners in particular use the platform so, they can get real relationships, real discussions daily. That's my goal.
Love that. I love it. And it's so needed. You wouldn't think there's an underserved market there, but oof, if I had connected with you 10 years ago when I only used it as like a resume.
Right. Yeah. Big difference. Yeah.
I love it. We'll dive in a little bit more here in just a moment. I love that. That's great. Tyron, what's the best thing about being in business? You've got a lot to pull from there. What's the best thing?
For sure. I think, for me, I'm 47 now, and I've been an entrepreneur for probably the last 20 odd years. And the thing about owning businesses and being a business, the start's a nightmare, right? So if you're not a business owner yet or an entrepreneur yet, the allure of, you've got all this free time and it just doesn't exist, not at the start. However, the great thing about it is you're working hard and building your dream, not someone else's, right? So every ounce of sweat and the blood and tears that you go through, at least it's for you, for your outcome and for the benefit of your clients that, you're taking responsibility for. So I just love the fact that the energy that I put in, and that's what, I feel entrepreneurial life is really about energy management more than anything. I love it that, the stuff that I put in, it goes exactly to the places where I want it, and it's just not wasted. And that's important for me. Time is I know it's so cliche, but we can't buy more time. And when I look at business, for me, what it does is it gives me a great lifestyle as well. But that's come after hard yards. It's as they say, entrepreneurs are the only people that give up a 9 to 5 so they can work a 9 to 9 or a 9 to 12 at night. So but that's what it affords, when it's done right, and the payoffs are exponential in the future. So that's what I love about it. I get to control my life and my energy.
I love it. One of the things I love you said is energy. So a lot of people talk about time and freedom, and you spoke into that a little bit, but what you said is the energy, what you put into it, you get out of it, like black box, right? You put it in, you get out. And I love what you shared there, but when you said it, I was going to say when you said it, a lot of people go from 9 to 5 to 24/7, right? At first.
Yeah, you're always thinking about your business, right? Until you get to that point where you can kind of, shut it off. Some don't, some of the best entrepreneurs I know, they're hard, they're just at it all the time. That's great. If that fits them and that fits their goal. But to make, multi-7 figures a year, you don't have to be like those guys that you see who are making 9 figures and above. We're all different. I quickly realized early on that I'm never going to be a billionaire, right? Because the difference between 1 million and 1 billion is, it's incredible. So I think as well, you've got to, I guess one of my strengths is just being realistic about, okay, these are my skill sets. And people talk about, don't have limits on yourself. And blah. look, I don't buy into that. I think, yes, it's great to have great goals, big goals, and go for it. But there's also skill and talent when you combine it with effort. Of course, you get a result. But those two are kind of fixed. I mean, you can constantly skill up. But I think you get comfortable when you finally realize, okay, this is what I'm really good at. And this is how much energy I want to put in. This will be the result. And this will probably be capped at this result. And be happy with that if that matches what you're trying to achieve. But to constantly dream, I gave that up pretty early on. I always thought, oh, one day I'll be a billionaire. Then I'm like, no, I've seen some billionaires. No, I'm not that. I'm not that. And I'm happy with that. I'm fine with it. So
I'm with you. I'm glad you brought that up. That's an interesting topic. I'm one of those limitless, no limit guys. That's not what I've learned is that's not right for everyone, right? Everybody's different. So you spoke into skill set, right? What's your skill set? What's your energy? Where do you want to be? What matches your lifestyle? I love that you brought that up. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, you can't put, I like to have lots of time off. I like to go on lots of trips. I like to take, during the day, I'll program in. We talked about this earlier. I plan out my day, but I'll program in breaks from 11 to 2 and, 2 to 4. I'll program them in because I just know when I'm efficient. And I think that's the thing many entrepreneurs fail at, especially early on, because, maybe they have a partner at home observing them. So they feel they've got to be in their little home office from 8 in the morning to 9 at night and be seen. But I did a simple task. I put rescue time. It's a software to track what I did for a week, right? And then I looked at it, I'm like, man, I am wasting so much time, hours a day. And I just became comfortable with like saying, okay, well, I'm really, really productive from kind of 9 a.m. to about 11:30. 11:30 to about 2, I'm not so good. 2 to 4, I just have this awesome kind of creative spirit then. And then from 7 to like 8 in the evening, it's another good time. So I'll program my day and, I can get stuff done in 4 hours or 5 hours a day. Yes, it's spread out. But, for me, the whole work-life balance stuff, what it means to me is when I'm working, I'm 100% working. I'm not vacationing at my desk. I'm not visiting club desk and sitting there. And when I'm off, I'm 100% off. That's balance. And it doesn't necessarily mean I have the same amount of free time as I have working time. Actually, I have way more free time than working time. But it's that when I'm doing either task, I'm fully present and 100% doing it. So that allows me to do it. And my wife knows that, my kids know that when the door's closed, I'm working. Don't come here. And I'll be out, and they know when I'm out, I'm with them. And when you get comfortable with that, especially I found a lot of people who've come from the corporate world, maybe 10, 15 years in that, and they've become a solopreneur or a small business owner, they haven't got out of that right yet. They're like, why become one then if you don't want to give yourself that freedom and realize that, your energy is like this during the day? Well, when it's like this, that's when you work. When it's like this, it's when you go and watch a movie, have a lunch, have a snack, have a long drink, whatever you want to do.
I absolutely love that. I'm glad you brought that up. I've not yet had anybody actually bring that up, and it's really a powerful learning lesson for anybody in business. As an entrepreneur, we get to set that schedule, right? So I'm glad you actually illustrated that and highlighted that. I happened to live in Spain for a little while. There's a siesta time, and I got used to that. Yeah, I get used to that. So I think you'd be so I know you're in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, what the stuff that I do is, quite unique compared, to what the general Japanese does. But I mean, this is the thing. It's I used to feel really guilty for taking time off and being down during the day. But what I did was I set 2 goals. I set my what goals, all those things that I wanted, and I set my how goal, how I wanted to achieve them. And I didn't want to achieve them, white knuckling it and being stressed. So what happened was when I did that transformation in my thinking, one of the years I said, okay, I'm going to have 10 overseas vacations in a year. Right? 10 vacations in a year. That was how I wanted to do it. And ended up being, we took kind of 3 months off out of the 12, just on 10 different trips. And the great thing about it, they became how goals. So as opposed to before, if I took time off, I felt like, oh, I should be working. I'm not leveraging my da. When I achieved one of the 10, it was a tick. It was a reward. It was just like hitting a what goal. So rather than seeing it as a negative, it now, for my life, those how goals are as important as the what goals. So I want to achieve all those how things monthly and weekly as well. Like if I don't take out a 2-hour a lunch break, I kind of feel bad about myself. That's my how goal, because they have to become important. And at the end of the day, it's, I don't live to work. So, I did at the start, but, that changed, certainly changed over the last 10 years. I'm very, very much a proponent of setting how goals as much as the what goals. And it's balanced me.
I love that. I think most of us, anybody probably listening and watching this, realizes and recognizes that, the day before we go on vacation, we get a whole lot done because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. But what if we were to live our days out all like that?
Yeah.
It's wonderful, right?
Yeah.
It's a great benefit. So I love hearing
Pareto's principle, I think, you fill the time that you give or something. So set a task. In one of our businesses, so I have a wedding business. I'm not sure you're aware of that, but I have a wedding dress business. And pre-COVID, we were doing up to 400 weddings a month. We're actually one of the top ranked individual boutiques in the country. And we have about 30 staff, all females, all young, 18 to kind of 24 in the industry. And it sounds kind of a bit slave driver, I guess, but we gave them stopwatches for certain tasks to get a base on, okay, when we do this part of the component, this is how much time. But the same thing, we just saw we could halve times, and improve efficiency just by, you say, well, no, that shouldn't be 4 minutes to do that. That should be 2. And it's just so true when you actually see it in practice. So, I like to give myself compressed timeframes, and it just forces me to get it done. Yeah, because if you give me 2 hours, I'll take the 2 hours. Give me 1, it's done. So yeah, it works.
Absolutely love that. I've been exposed to some of that in manufacturing. So, and that's really powerful stuff. You just measure the task, how long it takes. And I don't think enough entrepreneurs think that. Well, I'm not going to beat around the bush, Tyron. Not enough entrepreneurs think that way. No,
absolutely.
So, just simply because they haven't had exposure to it. So yeah, I think what you're referring to is Parkinsons Law. So it's an actual law. So I love it. Yep. We fill the time. I love this. This is great. You speak my language, my friend. Question number 3. We hear from other business owners. This is a fun question. I know you're going to love this. We hear from other business owners. They're getting so much business that sometimes the chaos in return is causing them some overwhelm. Would you be willing to share your thoughts about that?
Yeah. I guess when you get to that point, when there's so much business, you've got a couple of choices, right? Hire more resources or charge higher prices and get rid of some of the lower clients. What I learned early on, so I can't remember who gave me the advice, but they said, never turn down a client. Get them to turn you down because they'll go away feeling happier. And the way to do that, of course, is to look at your client roster and see where the energy is going and what the return is. And then, leveling up prices. And of course, you should be, providing a service that is still getting that outcome and they're happy about it. But if you are limited on being able to bring in resources, that's the only way. I mean, because what's going to happen is you're going to drop the ball. And you're gonna annoy clients, and they're gonna fire you. They're not gonna not choose you, which is different to getting fired. So that's the other thing. The other one is if you have the capability and you're good at hiring, and most entrepreneurs suck at hiring. If you're good at hiring, is to have a talent bench. Like you should have a bench of warm talent that you have maintained a relationship with. This is where LinkedIn's very good, where you can have a list of future talent that every month you just send out a message and you just tell them about what you're doing and how things are going and ask them a couple of questions. Because if you've got a bench, you can hit it pretty hard, and they're the first people you can go to, and it just might, save your butt in a pinch. So having a talent bench is really important. And then, yeah, not being afraid to lift prices to get rid of, that sounds horrible, but to get rid of the clients that maybe, it's time for them to move on.
Agreed. And a really powerful topic. Raise your prices, fire some clients in a nice way, of course. Deliver what you promised, and then move up, pivot up. I love it. I love it. It's interesting what you said about talent bench. So I've had some exposure to that. I never heard it called that, and I love that terminology. Just having a bench with a few people there on deck, just in case not when you need it. That's a great solution. I love that, Tyron.
Yeah, no, it's very, I mean, in our recruitment business and stuff, we'd help build these for clients. I mean, we'd recommend it as a tool, and they would have hundreds, right? And there was dedication to like, okay, how can we nurture these people and keep them warm and keep them interested, even if we don't have an opening now? And it reduces hiring times, especially for roles that tend to be, there is, an abundance, but some of those hard to find ones, it can be a lifesaver when you can, contact 4 or 5 people that you already know and they know you. And that's the difference, right? Is that especially in this market, and it's proven great for the environment now with Great Resignation and all the rest, is that they already have awareness of you and what you're trying to achieve, and you've been consistent with your message to them. So they're seeing that, you talk what you say, and what you're putting out there is truth, and it's transparent. Because a lot of concern for any future prospect is they're thinking like, okay, I've heard all this before. Is it real? Right? But if they've seen you over a year, 2 years, they know it's real. So much easier to bring people in from your bench.
Love that. That's just you have me speechless. That's wonderful news. That's a great idea. That's really valuable. Just like you would in your marketing, keep those. I mean, you're gonna market all the time. You're gonna sell all the time, right? That's the lifeblood of businesses. Why would you not do that for recruiting? Absolutely. That's so powerful, Tyron.
Yeah,
love it
for your business.
Question number 4. What other successful business owners, like yourself, of course, Tyron, should be on the Unlimited Wisdom podcast?
Yeah, there's a great guy that I met through doing another podcast as well. So that's what's quite interesting. It was kind of webinar online for a software company. His name's Sean Hull, and I'll give a shout out to Sean because he's an entrepreneur that I absolutely and utterly respect the way that he does everything in his business. And he has a expense. I mean, he's been in multiple businesses as most entrepreneurs, but he has a expense reduction business where he has brought some of the best services from all around the USA in particular and then has a business opportunity for people to join as independent advisors that can go to companies and, look at their expenses and, cut their expenses. And it's more than just saving time and money, right? Because when you can add money to that bottom line, well, that's a multiple as well. Like if you can suddenly free up 100K in pure profit, for most businesses to achieve 100K, they're going to have to make $1 million, right? So, or maybe, 500, depends how good their business is, 500K to $1 million. So he's got this great opportunity. But the things I love about Sean is that he treats everyone with such respect, and he makes you feel really good. Like every interaction, he always calls you buddy. But it's little things. It's not like this forced fakeness. You can just tell, he absolutely cares about everyone who works with him. So, he's mastered the art of relationship. And that's so critical as someone who is, encouraging people to, yes, invest in their business, of course, but more importantly, dedicate time and say, okay, I'm gonna, there's opportunity cost, right? Whenever we do something. And he's just so great at that. And what I love about it is he brings together groups of people. And I've noticed this about Sean. I'll do stuff for him that normally I probably would have charged clients to do, but I'm bought in on some of the stuff he's doing. And I'm like, yeah, so I'll do this because I don't know, he just has this allure of like, yeah, cool, I'll help and get you, I'll give you my time because I believe in what you're trying to achieve. And he's appreciative of it. So yeah, Sean's great business guy. Actually, his company is Inc. 5000. Last 3 years, it's been on the list. So, knows what he's doing.
Love it. I love it. It's brilliant. It's smart on many levels.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. Great description too. So let's get to some wisdom, Tyron. Unlimited business wisdom, right? What kind of wisdom would you share? I know you have vast experience. What kind of wisdom would you share with other business owners?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best things a business owner can do and get really good at early on is sales. Is business development, sales. I mean, I see them as the same because if you say sales, some business owners, I'm not good at sales. And I'm like, okay, how great are you at talking about your service and what you provide? And kind of, I'm great at that. All right, now formulate that and put that in a process. That's sales. Oh, okay. And I think a lot of business owners, they want to palm off sales too early on in their businesses. And that's to their detriment because you can quickly lose the understanding of what actually the current pain points are for your customers, right? Or for your clients. So I think at any levels, I'm talking probably up to like the 10 million, 20 million revenue range. The boss should be getting on some sales calls and getting on some sales presentations and going out there. And it doesn't hurt, and then the rest of your time should really be on that visionary stuff, especially when you get to that level, on that visionary stuff. But like there's no better use of a boss's time than to be speaking to, potential clients, potential partners. That's it. Like everything else can pretty much be palmed off to someone else, actually. Right? Especially any kind of transactional stuff, but like your vision and your creative genius, that's what should be used to communicate to potential partners and clients. So I don't think it's a waste of time at all for, a business owner actually to get out there and do the belly to belly with potentials. It's just, and so many kind of give it up so quick. And usually because they've been taught bad sales techniques. If they feel, it's really uncomfortable, that's the process. Yes, you should be uncomfortable because you've been given a really bad sales process or a really bad sales script. Of course, what you're feeling is natural. So make it so it's not. And there's so much out there now, and there's so much psychology that you can look at, and there's ways to do it. I use drawing. So I always have this, iPad next to me, and I use models and stuff, and I get them to draw with me. And when you bring someone into your sales process, you close at much a higher rate. And I think people just like to talk at people in sales. You've got to change. So yeah, that's the big one. Get really, really good at sales. Get really good at modeling, drawing, and looking at your sales process of how you can bring the person into it and actually engage and participate in it. It's completely different to just like presenting. Yeah. So that's my big wisdom. Don't give up sales and don't give up doing it.
I love this conversation. And there's a couple things that really jump out to me. One, this is such a needed conversation in the world that we live in today, in the market that we live in today. Sales has changed from, I'm just a few years older than you. So sales has changed from the old style. I'm just going to say 1970s, like law of averages. You just hit everybody over the head, and then you're going to eventually catch one. Like if you try selling in the market today like that, you're going to get some numbers, but that is not a way to go in this market.
Yeah.
What I really love is what you described about having the owner involved in sales activities, even up to the $10 million mark. So I learned through my career that when you do have a sales manager, the sales manager's job is really not to sell. The sales manager's job is to develop the team, right? So what I hear you saying in the same light is the owner's job would be to develop, or the sales team, develop the sales team members. But the way they do that is by being out there in the field selling themselves, whether it's
you got to lead. I mean, 30 years ago and well, not 30 years ago, 29 years ago, I was in the army. I did officer training and stuff. Unfortunately, I got injured and stuff, but that gave me the foundations for as a leader. And there's a difference between a leader and a manager. But one of those tasks is to put yourself out there and show and show by example. Training people, the best way to train people is to demonstrate, right? Not to tell them, but to demonstrate. And the best way to demonstrate is to be out there doing it. It's as simple as that. People will learn from that. People will learn from that more than you just having a webinar or having a workshop and telling them. So yeah, more leadership's needed, I think, all round.
Love it. And one of the other things you said is, I'm just going to throw out a saying here, which is like, illustration is more powerful than conversation. So yeah. I love what you said about, hey, draw something, get them interactive, get them engaged and interact with them so you can understand their business. That's really powerful stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. Tyron, look, I know you have years and years of experience and you do a lot on LinkedIn, right? And so I'm sure you get hammered like I do on LinkedIn with these messages that are just so highly ineffective. It's all about me. I do this for CEOs and I do that and blah, blah, blah. Just when I see those, I'm just like, I imagine you are too.
Yeah.
What, based on your experience, what advice could you give someone that recognizes that? Because they get hammered too, especially us entrepreneurs that are in the spotlight, right? So we get hammered. How can we be different?
Yeah. So the approach to LinkedIn is the great thing is all your competitors, they'll run a search on LinkedIn, they'll get a whole list of people and they treat everyone the same. That's your first mistake. You've got to realize that on LinkedIn, only 1 in 42 people post on LinkedIn. Okay. This is US stats. 1 in 42 post in the last 30 days, only 1 in 42 have posted. So the first thing to do when you're targeting people is to really segment the results that you're getting. And the first people that like A players, the diamonds, are the ones who are active, who have been on LinkedIn. They're posting multiple times a week, like 2-3 times a week. That's the cream, because engaging with them, speaking to them, everything about it is so much easier because they know the game. They're in it. Right. So that's where you focus most of your energy on these people. So segmenting who you go after is really, really important. The second thing is pre-warn them, before actually getting into their message box. Now it can take, I like to work in 15-day cycles, but if someone's posting, 3 times a week, that gives you 6-7 opportunities to be on them like white on rice. They post, you're there. You're commenting, you're giving a bit of an ego rub, a bit of a Scooby snack. Good job. I love that. That's a really interesting point. I saw that, And you just do that, right? It takes a little bit of time, but like anything, it's like going to a networking event. Every month you go to your networking event, you see the same person, you say, g'day, have a bit of a chat with them. Next month you see them again. After about 4 or 5 times, if you're smart, that's when you go, hey, why don't we have a coffee tomorrow? Because, you remind me of one of my other clients, blah, 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 blah. You don't do it on the first day. You can do that on LinkedIn, but instead of taking 3-4 months, you can do it in 7 to 14, 15 days. So pre-warn them. then likely they're going to send you a connection request. Because you remember, someone who's posting on LinkedIn, even if no one is, engaging or liking their comments, if they're still posting, no one who's posting on LinkedIn posts something and then thinks, hope no one sees this, hope no one comments on this. No one. They want it. They want it. So don't feel like you're stalking them or you're obvious. They want it. Give them their dopamine hit. After they reach out to you again, or you reach out to them finally, it's like, okay, they know me, they're aware of me, they've been responding. It's time to connect and get into Messenger and actually have a chat. Make it about them. This is the first thing to do. Make it about them. So I have a method I call the pink suit method. And it goes like this. If you come to Japan, come to a networking event, if you walk into a room, there's everyone in black suits, white shirt. That's like Japanese uniform for businessmen, right? Imagine you walk in that room, and there's a guy in the middle of the room wearing a pink neon suit. Well, what would you do? You'd walk up to him. What would you likely ask him, Brad? Like, really, if you saw everyone's in black suit, there's a guy in a pink neon suit, what would you do?
I'd say, hey, nice suit.
Nice suit. Where'd you get the suit? Wow. Why'd you wear that? What brought you that in the suit? You'd ask that. Now imagine if you're like 99% of LinkedIn people walking up to him, you'd be, hi, I'm Tyron, the LinkedIn guy. I help businesses that I've ignored the pink suit, right? It's obvious. So on LinkedIn, it's the same. What you should be looking for, someone's profile, do a Google search on them, do a Yahoo, a YouTube search on them, find them something, find an image of them. If they're a CEO of a small business, they've probably been interviewed before, the interviews on YouTube. Maybe if they're an owner of the company, they've created their own logo. Do a screenshot of that, slam that into Messenger. Love the logo. Did you create that? Everyone has a logo creation story as an owner. You made it, showed your friends, your family, your wife, your husband. They didn't like it. I like it. I'm going to use it anyway. You've gone through that. Someone's on YouTube in an interview. If it's a 12-minute interview, go to the 6-minute mark, screenshot the person. Bang. Love that point you made. You always been that comfortable on camera? Irresistible questions to open. The reason why most deals never occur on LinkedIn is because conversations never start. All right. So this is how to start a conversation, make it about them and ask an irresistible question. So pattern interrupt imagery, right? Because if you look at your message box in LinkedIn, it's all just text, text, text. So we want to use a pattern interrupt to get our viewer instantly, oh, that's me. Oh, that's from an interview. And then a nice, easy question, because that's how the anatomy of conversations actually occur in real life. It's question, answer, anecdote, opinion, question, answer, and it rotates. And answers are usually at the start, smaller questions, and answers are also smaller. And as conversations, they get longer. So do the same thing, emulate real life. Ask an irresistible question that's not complex, not complicated, doesn't ask them to think. They've just got to say yes or no, but most will give a little bit more. Then that's how to open. Then I have a whole formula for making it work. But please, people, stop doing these, what I call value vomits, where you go into someone's inbox, you think it's valuable, you go in there and say, hi, I do this, I help that, here's a PDF, here's a video, and here's my schedule. You would never do that in real life. Imagine a networking event, walking up to someone for the first time. Here's my schedule, book a time. Here's a brochure for you. You'd never do it. And people have been told to do this because they think it's giving value. They've heard marketers say, give value first, give you. It's not value. It is a value vomit, and no one likes to clean up vomit, right? And if it's in your inbox, it's a waste of time. Find out about them first. See if they actually have that pain point, or they could use your opportunity. Then you give them value, and after they've asked for it as well. So that's how I like to approach it with my clients, is teaching them how to approach first. And then there's a transition and stuff that we do to actually get them saying, oh, would you be able to help me? That's what we want. We never say, I can help you do this. Would you like it? Never. There's ways to do that, using basic psychology. I just find that when you make it about them and you stroke their ego a little bit, just like in real life, it just converts. As simple as that.
You make me want to jump for joy, my friend. This conversation just pleases me, and I appreciate you sharing this. It's so needed. I don't know why I'm still shocked, but I'm still shocked that this kind of conversation that we're having right now is not more in mass. It's so well
people
needed
want
in the market.
shortcuts, right? People want shortcuts. People want automation. People don't want to do the stuff that actually creates real relationships and real discussions. And great, keep on doing it, because I'm not, and I'm making money, and my clients aren't, and they're making money.
You're in a pink suit while everybody else is doing that.
Yeah,
I love it.
Everyone's ignoring the pink suit. So great, keep on doing it. Makes my stuff.
I really want. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you. What was that?
Okay. I was just saying it makes my stuff stand out because everyone else is doing it all trashy.
No doubt about it. I love you illustrated, and you actually said some things that are very actionable. And so I really appreciate that. Any guest that gets on and shares some just actionable information that someone can put to use today, and you did that. And so I want to celebrate you and highlight and showcase that, and thank you, because there is so much of that I and not enough what's in it for me mindset. I just had a conversation with someone earlier today about this very topic, and I was like, you're missing a step in your sales. They were doing a lot of things right, but I said, you're taking a leap from all this engagement you're doing and stuff, and then you're probing them with sales questions. There's a step in between that you're missing, and you haven't warmed them up. So I love you framed that, and you gave some really specific examples how you did that. Brilliant. Taking somebody's picture from something they're doing and showing that to them. That's brilliant, Tyron. Really, it is.
People love it. It's, that's why I call it, pattern interrupt, and then the irresistible question, a question that people can't resist answering. Everyone has an opinion on something, right? Especially themselves. There's two things humans are good at talking about: themselves and things they don't like, right? That's the two big things. So make one of them your outreach.
I love it. So this has been really fruitful. And so I encourage anybody listening, watching, really to pause. If that somehow bypassed you, like, scroll back, listen to what he shared about, and just, generate some ideas on how you can just ask an irresistible question, how you can take something from something somebody's producing and actually use that to your advantage to capture their attention. That's super powerful stuff. Yeah. Tyron, I know you and I could chat business for hours and hours. I want to respect your time and honor what we agreed. What you mentioned it earlier, that you actually you work to live and not live to work. I think you said it a different way, but you like your vacations, you like your free time, and all that kind of stuff. I love that. I really want to know what some of the most fun vacations you've ever had. You've had a few of them.
Yeah, and I've done a heap, and my goal was, by 30 to have traveled to every continent on Earth, and I did that. And the last one was Antarctica. So I'm also a geographer by education, and one of my professors is a famous Antarctica researcher. So I was always fascinated with Antarctica, and it made it our last trip that we went from Tokyo. We flew to US and then down to Argentina to Buenos Aires, and it was like a 36-hour trip from leaving home to getting to our hotel. Then we flew down to the bottom of Argentina, a place called Ushuaia, which is the little boot of South America. And then we were on a ship and went across the Drake Passage, which is the worst sea on Earth, to Antarctica. And we spent about 2 weeks going down the peninsula of Antarctica. And then every day, multiple times, we'd get out on the little Zodiacs and do, landings on the beach. And Antarctica is just amazing. The wildlife, of course, seeing 20, 30,000 penguin colony. Well, you'll smell them first before you see them, but seeing that, and then everyone just thinks it's this icy landscape. It's not. There's extinct red volcanoes that you can kind of climb. There's pebble beaches. There's snow, cliff faces of ice, landing zone. I mean, so many variations on the peninsula, and it was just amazing. So 2 weeks kind of traveling down there before heading across the Drake Passage, which took 3 days, I think, on the return because the weather was obscene. Was a highlight. And before that, I'd done a Botswana safari, which was that was the highlight until Antarctica kind of took that to number 2. But I tend to like to find stuff, wildlife. I did another trip to Rinca Island and Komodo Island just to see Komodo dragons. You have to fly down to Indonesia, catch a plane out to another little island called Flores, and then you have to go on a boat to see Komodo dragons in the wild. And the tip is, Komodo Island, very hard to find Komodos, actually. There's a little island called Rinca Island, which is about an hour away from that. They're everywhere. So if you ever want to go see Komodo Island, go to Rinca Island, not Komodo.
I love this. This is so fascinating. I almost got stationed in Antarctica, but it didn't work. I missed it. I got in Spain instead. Totally different.
Right, there you go. Wrong direction.
But that was great. No, I love it. That's a little cold for me, but you're actually making me want to go there. And you just added 3 places to my bucket list. Thank you very much.
There you go.
So you got me beat. I've been to 19 different countries, but I got many more to go. And so now I get to add 3 great places as a recommendation from you.
Yeah, there's a lot out there.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. What I'm curious, so I'm going to add a little question here. What initiative, because you got some fascinating projects you're going on, and you've been so humble on this, but you are very successful at what you do. Maybe too humble, my friend. What kind of projects are you working on? Give me something. Yeah. Give me something business oriented that you're working on right now. If you will.
So right now we're just penning an agreement where I'll be taking a equity stake in a SaaS company that is focusing on the DeFi space in the crypto world. So a guy that I mentored for 3 years, or 4 years, and he wasn't a paying client. Just every year I generally choose someone that I want to work with and give my time to, and he's become quite a friend. And I took him he was getting 80K a year in an IT company, got him out of that, and had his first $1 million year 2 years after that. And now he's having multi-million months, and he's younger, and he's got some amazing ideas for crypto. And I can see the stuff that he's trying to do really is aligned with me. We're making certain tools that help retail people trade safely, because the crypto world really it's a hive of scum and villainy, just like Star Wars. And I'm a bit older, got a little bit more gray, had a little bit more experiences, and he recognizes that. So I'll be helping like an integrator role, not necessarily COO, but in kind of operations, helping with recruiting and just being a soundboard for him. So yeah, I'm taking a nice position in that, and I'm really excited for that because the stuff that he talks about are $400 million evaluations, and I haven't been in a business like that. I was in one as a partner. We sold and went public on the 𝐃𝐲𝐿𝐼, but not at that level. So I'm kind of excited because this could be, something that really has impact, and the numbers are just ridiculous because of the amount of volume and people and interest, and so yeah, I'm focusing on that. And then another project on the recruiting space, looking at setting up a diversity hiring firm, and we're in discussions for the last 9-10 months with that. We had a bit of a delay, but yeah, so 2 major projects that are kind of keeping me busy right now, which is cool.
Love that. That's so fascinating. Both of those topics are really needed in the market, and great noble missions, man. So I love to hear these success stories as well. Fascinating stuff. So I want to thank you for the investment of your time. I know you took a chunk out of your day. You're on the other side of the world. You took a chunk out of your day to be here with and share with people. So I appreciate that. That really speaks, the service heart that you have. So thank you. What's when somebody watches this, they listen to it and they're like, I have to get in touch with that guy. What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah. Well, the great thing, there's only one Tyron Giuliani in the entire world. So you Google me, that's the first place. If you're interested more on the kind of, your business acquisition, client acquisition, developing your skill and on LinkedIn to use it as a service, go to Facebook. I have a group there. It's called LinkedIn Sales Funnels for Entrepreneurs. There's about 7,000 people there. Feel free to join that. And if you want to reach out to me, just info@sellingmadesocial.com, info@sellingmadesocial.com, and just say you heard me speaking to Brad, and I'll know what you're talking about.
I love it. Thank you so much. Again, thanks for your time. This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where business owners, this is fun. Business owners are making 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 figures. But you know what? There's a lot of talk about that on the internet, but it's not all about that. It's about sharing their wisdom and creating global impact. And I like to say there's unity in community. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.